Welcome to Iraqi Dinar Update, your go-to source for the latest news, expert insights, and real-time developments on Iraq's currency, economy, and financial reforms. Whether you're a long-time investor or just curious about the dinar, you're in the right place. The statement made by the Prime Minister's advisor that 90% of Iraq's money supply is held outside of the banks is both revealing and deeply significant, not just for Iraq's financial system but for anyone observing the future trajectory of the Iraqi dinar. This is not merely a statistical observation, it's a glimpse into the psychology, economic behavior, and strategic awareness of the Iraqi people. When such a large portion of a nation's money supply is physically hoarded outside formal financial institutions, it's not just a matter of financial disorganization or mistrust in banks. It is an indication that the general public may be acting on a deeper, perhaps even instinctive understanding that something important is coming, something that could fundamentally change the value and role of their currency. It reflects an unspoken tension between past financial instability and an anticipated future where the dinar might regain, or attain for the first time in decades, its rightful strength. To understand this phenomenon, we must first place it in the context of Iraq's modern financial and political history. Iraq has faced decades of wars, sanctions, regime changes, corruption, hyperinflation, and institutional instability. In such an environment, trust in banks, government institutions, and even in the currency itself becomes fragile. Many Iraqis, particularly those who lived through the 1990s and early 2000s, have memories of watching their savings vanish overnight due to currency devaluation, bank seizures, or simply the inability of institutions to provide basic liquidity in times of crisis. This historical trauma has cultivated a culture of keeping wealth in physical, tangible forms, cash in hand, gold under mattresses, real estate, or US dollars hidden at home. However, the observation that Iraqis are hoarding dinars, not dollars, is crucial. In many unstable economies, when people lose confidence in the national currency, they convert their savings into more stable foreign currencies, especially the US dollar. This was common practice in places like Zimbabwe, Venezuela, or even Lebanon in recent years. But Iraq's case is different. Despite access to the dollar and even partial dollarization of certain commercial transactions, the Iraqi people are largely choosing to hold on to dinars. That decision speaks volumes. It suggests that the public perceives intrinsic future value in the dinar. Whether this belief is based on intuition, insider knowledge, or simply a long-term cultural bet, it is telling. This perspective gains further credibility when we consider the comments and policy direction of government advisors, including the one who released the 90% statistic. Statements like these are rarely made casually or without strategic intent. Releasing such data to the public can serve as both a diagnostic and a message. It diagnoses the underlying reality that the formal financial system still lacks traction with the general public. But it also serves as a subtle signal that the government knows what is happening and may even understand the reasons behind it. In this case, the implication is that the government recognizes the public's reluctance to deposit dinars and perhaps does not view it as irrational behavior, but as rational positioning ahead of structural economic change. But what if these reforms are not just about modernizing, but also about preparing for a controlled revaluation or floating of the dinar? If such an event is on the horizon, then maintaining the illusion of currency scarcity by keeping dinar out of circulation could be a strategic move by the public to maximize benefit post-reform. In a way, it's a grassroots form of economic speculation, where the people, not hedge funds or foreign investors, are the ones holding the undervalued asset. This aligns with broader trends in emerging markets, where local populations sometimes act as the most accurate barometers of impending financial change. We should also reflect on the broader implications of such a large hoard of dinars. This hoarding represents dormant capital, an enormous reservoir of purchasing power that could flood the economy once confidence returns. If reforms lead to a credible, stable banking system and a more valuable currency, these dinars could re-enter the economy as investment in businesses, real estate, infrastructure, and consumption. That would trigger a domestic economic boom unlike anything Iraq has seen in decades. The key is timing. If the re-entry of this hoarded money is well managed, it could be a powerful stimulus. If poorly managed, it could fuel inflation or asset bubbles. Hence, the government must tread carefully. The psychological aspect of money cannot be overlooked either. In Iraq, dinars are not just currency, they are symbols of national identity, pride, and survival. After years of being devalued and disrespected in international markets, The dinar is now being seen by Iraqis themselves as something worth holding on to. This shift in perception is perhaps the most important development of all. When a nation begins to collectively believe in the future value of its own currency, that belief can be as powerful as any policy move or oil deal. It is belief that creates demand, and demand that creates value. This shift in sentiment could be the beginning of a long-awaited monetary renaissance in Iraq. All of this invites us to reconsider the standard economic interpretations of currency behavior. While traditional models might view currency hoarding as a problem, something to be corrected, perhaps in Iraq's unique case it is actually a precursor to transformation. The people are not hoarding out of fear, but out of hope. Not because they distrust the currency, but because they believe it is about to become far more valuable than the world currently realizes. This quiet confidence, this grassroots accumulation of dinars, is a collective act of preparation. It suggests that the Iraqi people, far from being passive victims of monetary policy, are active participants in their country's economic future. Whether consciously or not, they are positioning themselves to benefit from a potential revaluation or international re-entry of the dinar. They are holding tight to a currency that many outsiders may have dismissed, but which insiders now seem to believe is on the verge of historic change. So when the Prime Minister's advisor says that 90% of Iraq's money is held outside the banks, it's not just a financial anomaly. It's a story about a people who remember the past, recognize the present, and are preparing for the future. It's about more than currency. It's about control, dignity, and the desire to benefit from the wealth of a nation that is finally beginning to reclaim its place in the world. Thanks for tuning into Iraqi Dinar Update. If you found this content helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a beat on Iraq's evolving financial landscape. Stay informed and stay ready.